Special thank you to the Traub family for sponsoring the pizza and picking it up. Thank you to the Allswing family for sponsoring the donuts. Thanks to everyone else for being here. Okay, we'll do a quick round of introductions. Arnie, did you, Benjamin?
Conan Palmer.
Silverstein.
Are you Radner?
Avi Adler. Herschel Thompson.
Great. Okay, Nelson Rosenfeld. Good. Great to have you all here tonight. So you learned probably a little bit of the Gemara in Shabbos. We'll start with that. We'll do a little bit of a shiur and then maybe go into some of the meaning behind it. So the famous Gemara says, Toner Rabban Mitzvah Chanukah. What is the basic core mitzvah of Chanukah? To light how many? One. Ner ish ubeisai. One light per house. V'amahadrin, and if you want to do better than that, ner l'kol echad ve'echad. That's a light per person. So everyone would light one candle every night. V'amahadrin min mahadrin. If you want to do even better than that, is you have one candle per person per night. Either Beis Shammai says you start with 8 and you go down every night to 1, or Beis Hillel says you start with 1 and you go up every night to 8. We do like Beis Hillel. Yeah? Okay. Now if you look in the, I've been seeing, we already did intros. If you look in the Shulchan Aruch, when this is brought down, there seems to be a machlokes between the Mechaber and the Ramah, the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah, about how to practice. Let's read the Shulchan Aruch in Siman Tafresh Ayin Aleph. Shulchan Aruch says, "Kama neris madlik." How many neris do you light? Balayla harishin madlik echad. On the first night you light 1. Mikan ve'elech moisef v'hoilech echad b'chol laila. The next night you light 2. The next night you light 3, and at the end you light 4. Va'afilu imrabim b'nei habayis lo yadliku yoser. And even if there's lots of people in the house, you don't light more than that. So he's saying the first, you have the core requirement of 1 ner per house, but you don't have multiple menorahs at the window. You have 1 for the balabas, and he lights 1 candle the first night, 2 the next night, 3 the next night, and so on. And the Ramah says, no, v'yesh oimrim dekolechem b'nei habayis yadlik, that every person lights their own, v'chein haminik pashut, and that's the pashut minhag. So what's the machlokes? What's the root of this dispute between the Mechaber and the Ramah? What do you think? The Gemara mentions both minhagim. The Shulchan Aruch goes with 1. The Ramah says you do everything. What's the issue? Why would the Shulchan Aruch disagree with the Ramah? That seems to be the simple reading of the Gemara.
Well, the Gemara doesn't say that each person should increase enough.
That's true.
Right?
The Gemara doesn't say that each person should increase enough.
It just said Mahadran is each person lights 1.
Right.
And then it says Mahadran and Mahadran is to increase enough.
Right. So you're right that some of the Rishonim learned that Mahadran, this is what Tosfos learns, that Mahadran min ha-Mahadran in the Gemara is not going on their issue on the first level of Mahadran. It's not saying that every individual in the house lights in 1 per house. It's saying that there's 2 ways to do Hiddur. There's option A and option B. Option A to do Hiddur is everyone in the house lights 1. And option B to do Hiddur is the Balabayas lights a ner per night.
Mahadran makes it sound like it's a step up.
It's a step up. Makes it sound like, you meaning like it's cumulative.
Right,
Cumulative.
exactly.
So that's what the Ramah is saying. Okay, but beyond the reading of the Gemara, is there like a principled difference? There's a Brisker Rav on this, explaining the difference between the Ramah and the Mechaber. Okay, are you going to make a bracha when you light? Yeah, you're going to make a bracha when you light. Can you make a bracha on... You can make a bracha on Ner Chanukah. It's a mitzvah d'Rabbanan. You can still make a bracha on it, right? The Gemara says, because the Chachamim we're still commanded to listen to the mitzvahs because of Lysaser, right? So let's think of this scenario according to the Ramah. The Balabai is lit for the house, right? You're the father. One day you guys in Mitzvah Shem will be fathers. You're going to light the first one, okay? Everything that happens after that is Hiddur mitzvah. It's not the primary mitzvah anymore. The Ikar mitzvah is done. Brisker Rav says, the Shulchan Aruch, he has all kinds of rights, but the Shulchan Aruch holds you can't make a bracha on something that is purely Hiddur mitzvah. Hiddur mitzvah is an extension of a mitzvah. You have a core mitzvah, buy a talis, wear a talis, and you can be mahader that mitzvah by buying a super nice talis, right? It's extra nice. It's a bigger esrog. It's fancier. It's nicer. It's in addition to, but you have to have the core mitzvah to be able to make a bracha. And if the only core mitzvah is the balabayas lighting the ner for the house, then the Shulchan Aruch saying there is a form of hiddur where it works, where the person making the bracha is making a bracha on the primary mitzvah, and then he's just adding to it. So if I'm the balabayas and I'm the only one lighting in my house, and I light 2 candles tonight, right, like I did. So I made a bracha because I'm doing the primary mitzvah, the core mitzvah. I'm lighting the ner for the bias, but I'm enhancing that mitzvah because I'm lighting 2. So I'm lighting 1 per night. It's not just 1 per house. But in the Ramah's case, which is what we do, let's say that your father lit already 1. He lit his menorah. Now, son who's 16, he's bar mitzvah, he's coming to light his menorah. What's he making a bracha on? The whole thing is Eder mitzvah. The whole lighting of the kid is Eder mitzvah. That's the machlekes, the mechaber and the Ramah. That's the Brisker Rav says. The Shulchan Aruch holds you cannot make a bracha on something that's just Eder mitzvah. Eder mitzvah is an extension of a mitzvah. You have to do the Brisker Rav.
But who is he saying it?
The mechaber, Shulchan Aruch. The reason the Shulchan Aruch did not want to.
So why don't you just say don't make a bracha? I mean, the mashma is still that you should all light. Like, I don't know, I still think that's the...
Oh, you're saying you should light just without making a bracha.
One person makes the bracha for everyone, and then everyone lights.
Oh, one person makes the bracha for everyone. But the Ram, okay. What you certainly see from the Ramah, that's the bigger proof of the Brisker Rav, is that you see from the Ramah, right, the Ramah is saying every person does their own thing and makes their own bracha. You see from the Ramah a big chiddush that you could make a bracha on pure Hiddur mitzvah, because once the balabas is lit, mitzvah's done. What am I doing making a bracha? It must be I can make a bracha on pure Hiddur mitzvah. That's the Brisker Rav.
I just heard.
Yeah.
I don't remember who.
Yeah.
And he was saying that if you're Mekayim the
Jerry,
mitzvah,
yeah.
Mekayim the mitzvah, you do the 1. You only have the 1. You're an ani.
Yeah.
Then, and it's the 4th night, and you only have the 1. And then somebody comes and brings 3 more candles.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to light on the 3 more candles because you're being make a bracha on the mitzvah.
Oh, really? Okay, so that would maybe depend on this question, whether you can make a bracha on just Hiddur mitzvah.
You should make a bracha.
You should.
You should.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the Brisker Rav. Again, so in a nutshell, the Brisker Rav is saying that you see from the Ramah that says that the minhag is to do what we all did tonight, where the father lit and then the son lights their own and makes a bracha. You see that you can make a bracha on something that's pure mitzvah. Yeah? Good? And there's a question? No? I think it's ironclad proof, Brisker Rav. Right?
Yeah, but you have to make a bracha on the mitzvah.
Yeah.
Whether it's a mitzvah or not.
So you're saying you don't understand how it could be? I'm saying the Ramah seems to say that you can make a bracha on something that is only a hiddur to a mitzvah that already happened. That's the chiddush.
The actual mitzvah also did make the bracha, so it doesn't matter if it's whether or not you have to make the bracha.
So there's no question you have to make a bracha on the core mitzvah, and the bracha was made on the core mitzvah. Your father, when he lit, he did the core mitzvah. The core mitzvah is just ner ishu beisai. When the what you would call the head of household lights the first candle, the ikar mitzvah is done. Anything that happens after that is hiddur. Now, his bracha, it's going on the primary mitzvah. Everyone else who makes a bracha, what are they making it on? They're not making it on that, so they're making it on hiddur. Rav Yaakov Moshe Kolevsky, Zechrona Levracha, has a kasha on the Brisker Rav. His kasha is, what do you mean? I'm a 16-year-old yeshiva bacher. I know that my father already lit, and that was the... So I'm going to have kavana not to be yoitza with him.
Or the father not be mechaved.
Well, the father's head of household, so he's like the primary. But as the kid, what's the this is a kasha on the Brisker Rav. Okay, so The Brisker Rav is saying you can prove from the Ramah that the Ramah says that the 16-year-old yeshiva bacher can light on his own menorah and make his own bracha. That proves that you can make a bracha on pure hider.
I mean, he would have said that. He would have said, "B'chol b'nei beisa in mechav, in mechavnin latzis." Clearly, you don't. Clearly, it's not part of it.
No, so his.
The Ramah should have said.
Oh,
that. The Ramah
oh.
would have said. That's a pretty big thing to leave out.
No, but he's. That he should
The
specifically.
Ramah
have
should
one?
have called out that b'chol b'nei beisa in mechavnin
Okay,
latzis.
okay.
Something
You're,
like
you're
that.
saying it's a doichik in the Ramah.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear. That's Rav Klevsky's kasha. Klevsky's kasha is that that the pure logic of the Brisker Rav, there's a potential flaw. There's a hole. Right? That's what he's saying. Rav Klevsky's saying that you can't prove. In other words, maybe the Ramah agrees. This is Rav Klevsky saying. Rav Klevsky saying maybe the Ramah agrees that you cannot make a bracha on pure hider mitzvah. You can only make a bracha on the core mitzvah. As a 16-year-old, how is a 16-year-old making a bracha on his menorah if his father already lit? Because he had kavanah not to be yotze with his father. That's how. He had kavanah not to be yotze with his father. And so when I'm lighting the first nair.
And the fact that you have a menorah lit in your house is not already kiyum of the mitzvah. Because halakha is a mitzvah.
Exactly.
What?
No, halakha is a mitzvah.
So therefore what?
So the fact that the father has a lit menorah in the house, that didn't pater you.
You're saying, okay.
If I take
okay.
my menorah and put it in your house, you still have to light menorah.
Is it a chiyuv on each individual or is it a
Oh.
chiyuv on the household?
It always gets.
Oh.
It always gets back to.
Oh.
So what if the father
Any
doesn't have
question
to
would
not
be
to be used? What if the father has to be used? Okay.
That's right. Okay, if I was going to mice the kid, but the kid, well, in general, if you have explicit kavana not to be yaitza, you're in shul on Rosh Hashanah. Baal Tekeah has kavana to be yaitza. If you have specific kavana not to be yaitza, you're not yaitza. So why can't you do that? And then your mitzvah is the primary mitzvah.
Should it be different since it's the Baal Bus lights for his house, so
Oh.
regardless, okay, fine, this one the exit.
Oh, that's basically what Rav Klevsky says. Right. Rav Klevsky says, you see, this is not your typical kind of mitzvah. You can't choose to be yaitza with your father or not yaitza with your father. He's the master of the house. And he lit a candle for the house. Whether you wanted to have kavanah or you didn't want to have kavanah, you wanted to be yaitza, you didn't want to be yaitza, doesn't matter. You're yaitza. The mitzvah's done. It's not like shofar, where I have a chiyuv to light shofar and you have a chiyuv to light shofar. Where I have a chiyuv to hear the shofar and you have a chiyuv to hear shofar and you have a chiyuv to hear shofar. So if have kavanah not to be yaitza with your tekiah, so then I'm not yaitza, and then I have to do my own. But that's not what it is here at all. The answer is really kind of pashut once you hear it. The ner issue beisai means that the chiyuv is on the house. And when the master of the house lights a candle for the house, it's done. The house is patered. Your kavanas don't matter. What kavanah do you have? That you weren't yaitza? You didn't have a chiyuv to light. The house had a chiyuv. And the house is lit. So it's done.
So how do we make a bracha?
The Ramah, that's the Brisker Rav's proof. Meaning the Brisker Rav is saying, it must be the Ramah holds you can make a bracha on something that is just hider mitzvah. It's not the core mitzvah. The core mitzvah is done, and you didn't do it. So what are you making a bracha on? Hider.
So if you're not home,
Right, I was about to say.
I mean, so you're Mekayim the mitzvah just by
The core
somebody
mitzvah?
in the house doing it for you?
The core mitzvah?
Or your son, let's say your son's in school,
Technically.
he's at a football game, who
So
knows?
that's what I was. So as a Sephardi, that's what I was told.
Why?
Sephardim and yeshiva, at least in there, we
You
were
go
given.
stay with your father.
Yeah, we don't. We used to like go to hang
Right.
out. Like I was miles away. I had a light. I'm with
Yeah.
my father.
Yeah, and there she
Father
was.
That's what I heard, right?
What's that?
Even if your father was a guy at the time?
Well, he would.
No.
Someone would need to light for the household, but like I don't need to be physically in the household to be yotze. As long as there's someone lighting for the household, I'm part of the household, and which kind of fits.
Right, right. I mean, and even Ashkenazim hold that you could make a shliach if you need to light for you. But
But you yotze,
yeah.
if you're not, even if you're not there. You never see the candles, you've never been at the house until the next day.
Again, you should light yourself. If you can't light yourself, you should appoint a shliach to light for you. So, especially if you're the balabais. And if you can't do that, then
But I'm asking more like,
Yeah.
we're the Balaratim, so.
Right,
but
right.
like for others, like are they,
Right.
do that, if there's they're anonymous, they can't get anywhere, they're whatever,
Yeah, the best thing is for to appoint someone to light for you is the best thing.
So if I come into your house and I light the menorah in your house, you now don't have a mitzvah menorah. You're just
I hear. No, so I think there's
so
something.
there's a halakha. That's basically saying it's a chiyuv on the house.
Right,
That's what
right,
Ellie was
Chiv
saying.
on the house, but it seems, but who decides?
So it has to be the baal of bus
It seems
of the
that-
house.
I mean,
Do
you
it
don't
on-
see. Meaning you don't see right. You don't
So it's
see
like a
what you're
mix.
saying
So
from
it's a
here.
mix.
Ubeso.
Right,
The
right.
teretz I heard was you actually have to be mistarif with the baal bayit. You have to eat.
Mhm,
You have to
right,
be part
right,
of the
right,
candles
right,
or the
right,
oil.
right.
Your candles are not as important as
Right.
his,
Right,
and you're
Right.
mistarif with those candles, not
Right.
your own.
right.
Like Ner Shabbos, same idea.
The learning
Someone
the
else's
sugya.
house, you still have to light.
Still have to light.
Even though
Right.
it's on the house.
It's on the house, but you still have to light. Okay, very good. That's the first piece. Yeah. Chasoif zeravo Yaakov Ochecha Nekarev Gates HaYeshua Nekavai Nikmaz Lamavadecha Welcome back. Take a seat. Welcome. Chasoif zeravo The seat's over there. Ochecha. Someone's sitting here, but there's two seats over there. Okay, Yeshua, Nekavai Nikmas, Lamavadecha, Aimei Yomar Shah, Ki Yarecha Lavanu Yeshua, V'yekei Tzimei Yara, Dechei mine, Vetzel Tzalmine, Akemon, Shiva, Giyarecha Lavan, HaYeshua, V'yekei Tzimei Yara, Dechei mine, Vetzel Tzalmine, Akemon, Okay, well, welcome to Rabariye, and what's your first name? Naftali, our new neighbors. Welcome. So we're talking about Mahadrim and a Mahadrin. Did that ever bother you? Why is Mahadrim and a Mahadrin? Where do we have Mahadrim and a Mahadrin? You ever heard of a mitzvah that it's Mahadrim and a Mahadrin? Hiddur mitzvah I heard of. No? Strange? Any other mitzvah? Mahadrin, min a Mahadrin? Strange. You know an answer? I'll tell you the most. This is. I always think this is like the most amazing Chanukah. Right, this one. This one. Okay, ready? Beis Halevi. No. Beis Halevi. Listen. Okay. What was the nace? What was the nace? Someone tell me. What was the nace? What was the nace? What? Pach Shemen. What's the nace of the Pach Shemen? What was the nace of Pach Shemen? Speak it out. I know, we knew it since you were first grade, but what is it?
They found the Pach Shemen.
They found the Pach Shemen, 1 jar of oil.
They found the Pach Shemen.
Okay.
And then it lasted for 7 days.
Lasted for 7,
They
okay.
found it and then it lasted.
Okay. So meaning it should have only been enough to burn for how long?
1 day.
1 night.
One night.
Part of the dish.
1 night.
They found
Okay. So it was the amount of oil that could only burn for 1 night, you're telling me? Okay. Let me ask you a question. What did we have? You can't see it now, but Ellie just ordered more. But we have in our menorah that we have oil bowls, and there's different models. There's 3.5 hour ones, or 6 hour ones. What did you get? The 10 hour ones? What did you?
No, I don't know. I can't remember.
6
what
hour,
those
I think.
were. Yeah, maybe there's 6. I can't
Okay.
remember.
So what determines how long the oil's going to burn? How much oil there is, right? Any other factors?
Wick.
What?
How big the wick is?
How thick the wick is. The wick is a pipe. It's drawing oil. Okay. A thin wick is going to burn very slowly. A thick wick is going to be gone in a second. The same Pach Shemen. If they had a big thick wick, it would go in an instant. If a tiny thin wick, it would last for a month. Now the Beis Halevi learns Kachim, right? You know that? Briskers learn Kachim. The Beis Halevi says, I looked in the whole kachim, and there's a shiur for this and a minimum size for that. And guess what? There's no shiur la'oivei hapsilos. There is no minimum for the thickness of the wicks. There's no minimum. So they used a certain wick size, but they could have used a smaller size. So for the Beis Halevi,
Are you talking about in the Beis HaMikdash?
in the Beis HaMikdash, in the Beis HaMikdash, Dina Menorah. So I'm talking about the Chashmonaim came.
Use a thinner wick and then you.
No, I understand
Oh.
that.
Face. Right.
So the Chashmonaim come, okay, we're the Chashmonaim, we're coming back, we conquered it, we got rid of the Greeks. They're gone, they're out, we're here. We got the jar of oil, and we realize this is the only one that's going to take 8 days to process a new batch. And we know we have a mitzvah d'oraisa lahalos ner tamid. Every day there has to be a light, there has to be a menorah. So we have a choice. We could use the usual wicks that they used in the menorah, which were nice and thick to make a nice geschmack, a big flame, hider mitzvah, right? Or we could realize we have to kind of ration this oil. It has to burn the whole night. But we have a solution that doesn't rely on a miracle. We'll take the wick, we'll slice it to 8 strips. And it will burn 1/8 of the amount of oil that it would normally. Voila. We got enough oil. All we got to do is slice the wicks real thin. And we'll have enough oil to last for 8 days. So who needs a miracle? But they said no. We're going to light it. We're going to light it tonight. We're going to do it with hider mitzvah. We're going to do the full beauty. And that's what the miracle is all about. So the whole nace of Chanuka is built on hider mitzvah. It was only needed for hider mitzvah. It was the whole nace was an endorsement of them using hider mitzvah. So it's not just hider mitzvah is not just like a minor thing. This is another mitzvah, so you do it. We do it with hider. The whole miracle only happened because they insisted on doing hider mitzvah. So when it comes to Chanukah, hider mitzvah is everywhere. You have mahadrin, mina mahadrin, do it this way, do it. It's the only mitzvah where you have to spend all your money to do it. You hear? Hider mitzvah is not like an ancillary thing you add on, do a nice mitzvah. It's the site of the whole thing. There would not be ner chan. There was no need for a nace, but for the hider.
They lit all six of them when they lit. They didn't light just
It's
one.
brilliant. What?
They lit 6, right?
What do you
The
mean?
menorah had six branches.
Yeah.
They lit a menorah.
Yeah.
Their menorah that they had 6 branches.
Yeah, right.
They lit 6 of them. They didn't light just one, right?
They lit the whole thing. Yeah, they lit the whole thing. They used the pach shemen. It was enough for the whole menorah for one night. For one night, but they could have they could have let that oil last the whole time, and they didn't. Yeah.
Isn't there something about the oil doesn't need to be more pure than the people? Like,
Okay.
so like, in the first place, they didn't really have to like go hunting for the tahor oil.
Oh, you're saying they
Like,
could have used the
so-
tummy oil. Mm.
Right. They could have used the tame oil because the people were tame. So they didn't even need that in the first place. And nonetheless,
Mhm.
they still went and searched the entire place to find this one last one
Right,
remaining.
right.
And on top of that, they also said we want to do it to the fullest.
Right. I hear.
So even the start of it was header.
Let's hit it. Yeah. Good. Schmuck, you here?
Also,
Yeah.
Just because it's built on hider mitzvah, the hider mitzvah turns into a normal mitzvah. It's not. If it's based on a hider mitzvah, it's still not a normal mitzvah.
So what's you say? So what do you mean? Yeah.
And it has to be based on what you have to do. So it's not mechuyev.
Well, I'm saying what the Beis Halevi is saying is that they could have lit the menorah and fulfilled the mitzvah with a thinner wick and with a smaller flame. They fulfilled the mitzvah of lighting the menorah. There is no shiur. That's what he's saying. There's no minimum.
I think he's saying now. He's saying now that everyone's
Oh.
doing the hider, like it's not hider anymore, right? Am I understanding right?
Oh, okay. You're saying that's unusual that mahadrin and a mahadrin
So-
becomes like part of the right. It's the race. Yeah.
They used to sell Gimel as sorghum. Now
Right,
everyone's
right,
Aleph,
right,
Aleph,
right,
Aleph,
right,
Aleph,
right,
Aleph,
exactly,
and
exactly, right,
there's no Gimels anymore.
right. Right,
Like
right.
if you're to if someone was to only light one each night. Like,
Right. Another reason for the Mahadrim and the Mahadrin is, of course, Yavan represents beauty, secular beauty. Yavan, even the word Yavan, Yud Vav Nun, it's like geometrical Greek columns, straight. It's a pattern. One grows. Maral says so. Yafta Lokim liyefes. We learned about that, right? In Parshas Noach, that the bracha that Noach gave to Yefes was going to be beauty for Yefes, and Yefes represents secular beauty. And so the way for us to triumph over them is to have beauty that's connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's connected to eternity, and can't just be disconnected. Oh, it's a nice column. But we have to fight them with their own fire with fire. You have to fight them with their own thing, and their thing is beauty. And so when it comes to Chanukah, when we're trying to triumph over the influence of Yavan, we have to have beauty, Hiddur, but we connect it to Hashem. Eilecho Hashem Ekron V'yel Hashem Eschanon Eilecho Hashem Ekron V'yel Hashem Eschanon Shema Hashem Echoneni Hashem Yehozerli Shema Hashem Echoneni Hashem Yehozerli Shema Hashem b'choneni Hashem ya'ozerli Shema Hashem b'choneni Hashem ya'ozerli. Okay, I think you all know the answer. If the Ner Chanukah went out, do you have to relight it?
It depends on
Which can?
Whoa, we got a lot of opinions. Okay. What? Which candle?
Yeah.
Does it matter? It depends?
Yeah. Depends how long it was lit.
As long as it was lit?
Right, and then you don't if it's the minimum, but it's actually better if you do.
Okay.
If you had enough oil, I think it's good.
If you had enough oil, you don't need to relight it. Okay?
No, you don't. As long as you let your yosef.
As long as you're yaitza. Any other opinions?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. If it went out before 30 minutes, you have to relight it. That's what you're saying.
Well, why did it go out?
Depends why it go out. Why did it go out? Tell me, why did it go out?
No, I don't know.
Okay, does it matter?
What are we talking about here?
Does it matter?
Someone,
Most common.
did someone distinctively?
If it was a sneeze, then it's okay.
It was a cough.
If it was a cough, okay. Okay, so the Gemara discusses it. And the Gemara says very clearly, Kavsa ein zakukla. If it goes out, you do not need to relight it. The Gemara has a big debate, hadlaka oisa mitzvah or hanacha oisa mitzvah. Is it the act of lighting it that's the mitzvah? Or is it the state of being lit? That's the mitzvah. And the Gemara concludes, Kavsa, that hadlaka oisa mitzvah. And the Shulchan Aruch says, I'll just read to you, the Shulchan Aruch says in Tafresh Ayin Gimel, hadlaka oisa mitzvah, the mitzvah is the act of lighting, not the state of being lit. It's the act of lighting. Lefikach, therefore, im kavsa, koidem shavar zmana. If it went out before the time passed, there is a minimum time. What? The time is a half hour after tzeis. If it went out before, ein hazakal, you don't need to relight it. Okay, so you do not need to relight it. Now, there is the halach is you do not need to relight it. Any candle that went out after you lit, you do not need to relight it. But there's one exception that I think is a nuance that's not so widely known. No, even Erev Shabbos, he talks about
You
that.
won't make it, but you won't make it till after.
Not make a radin. Not make a radin. You could relight it. If you relight it, you certainly don't make a bracha. But no. Because the mitzvah was the hadlaka. No, we'd light after plag. So it's b'diavad after plag you can light. Yeah. If the Bir Halacha says this, what's the reason why you don't need to relight it? I told you. Hint. Because hadlaka is a mitzvah, right? That's what Shulchan Aruch says. Hadlaka is a mitzvah. Lefikach im kavse kaidem ein zakla. Since the mitzvah is the act of lighting, once you did the act of lighting, anything that happens after that doesn't matter. Okay, what if it's the third night and you lit one, and then by the time you got to the second, the first one went out? So you never had a hadlaka of 3.
Doesn't
Right,
matter,
that's more
but
than-
Pashtus is you could just let one.
Okay, but we going with madron and madron.
You
That's our
don't
minute.
have to. You could. You were still able to
But we accepted that on ourselves as the. That's a good point. But we accepted that on ourselves as the minhag, as the way to do it. That is the right way to light. Mir Halacha says, if you want to fulfill that mahadrim and a mahadrin, you have to relight it. You didn't do it.
So that all of them
Vinira
are
lead the
alive.
Kemaikim. He says Valkain. Im kavsa achas koidem shehishlim ha'adlaka tzarich lachzer ulahadlika. So, if it went out before you finished the lighting, then you do have to relight it. And that's I think a nuance that's not so well known. And also, you need to have this is the Rosh Shulchan Aruch, but it's the Rush. You need to have enough oil in the receptacle at the time of lighting to last the full time, because the whole mitzvah is fulfilled at the time of hadlaka. So if at the time of hadlaka you didn't have enough oil and you just kept dripping a little oil in, it doesn't work. If hanacha is a mitzvah and it's just a state of being lit, so it's lit. It's lit for 30 minutes. So it's fine. It's not 30 minutes. It's 30 minutes after tzeis. Usually we start lighting before tzeis. Some people light at tzeis. But because hadlaka, the Rush says, because hadlaka is a mitzvah, you need to have enough oil, which is common, but so those are some nafkaminas of the fact that hadlaka is a mitzvah. Number one, if it went out, you don't need to relight it. Number two, you need to have enough oil at the time of lighting for it to last the full period, because that's when you get your mitzvah. And number three, if it went out before lighting was finished, then you do have to relight it. Okay.
What happens if you light it out of order? Is it namakit?
Not ma'akev,
Or
no.
the wrong direction, or something like that?
No, it's not ma'akev. No, it's not ma'akev.
It doesn't matter why it went.
No, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, if it could be that if you put it out on purpose,
Right.
You should relight it. Yeah. Okay.
What if it's sakana?
So you want to know when is it mutter to put out the lights? If it's a sakana, you can put it out. There's no what?
Wait.
If you're leaving your house, the general rule of the Paiskim is that you should wait until Avar Zmana. Wait until it's 30 minutes, 36 minutes after it says, and then you put it out.
Okay.
You can, yes.
So you lit it, that it can last for 30 minutes.
Yeah. So, but you can't put it out affirmatively. But but once it lit, it's the Zman, then you could. But if it went out, then you don't need to relight it.
Could you purposely
Put it out? No.
for 30 minutes put enough oil that will last 30 minutes?
Sure.
But if all that
That-
matters is
that's-
also
that's-
the
that's it.
mitzvah.
What?
If all that matters
You did, right. You're right. Yeah, and the Persumei Nisa is also at that time. Okay, last piece. We have it's 9:08, 19 Ma'ariv, if there's a minute. There's a okay. We say, we've bar a lot of. How long have you guys been bar mitzvah? A year? 6 months? A year? Okay. So you know how to make an aliyah and everything. You know how to. So what do you say? You say Asher. We say it even in the morning before the aliyah, but Asher, right? That's always tricky, right? Nata or which one, right? Bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'nasal lanu esavzeh. You ever wonder what that means? Bachar banu mikol a bachar. Ay vey. Okay. A bachar banu mikol ha'amim. chose us, v'nas alanu es Torah, and gave us Torah. Are those two different things?
Yes.
What's two different things? When did Bachar Banu happen?
By
By Avram Avinu. Whoa.
Hashem chose Avram.
Hashem chose Avram. Okay.
And plus one parish. We didn't have the Torah to our
It's
sin.
not seen it. Okay. Okay. The Vilna Gaon says that Bachar Banu happened on Beis Sivan. But it's similar to what you're saying. When the pasuk says Va'atem tiyu li mamleches kohanim v'goy kadosh. Hashem chose Avram as a special person, but not as a nation. The nation was chosen then. When Hashem said, V'atem tiyu, this was before the Shlosh Yismei HaGabbalah, so it's the second day of Sivan. That's what's called, it's a famous name for that day, remember? No, people don't know this, but people do know this. You know it. The Yom HaMeyuchas, it's called. Second day of Sivan is called Ben Rose, he knows. It's called the Yom HaMeyuchas. And because that's the day we got our Yichus. That's the day that we became the chosen people. So, and that happened on the second day. And then 6 days later, we got the Torah.
Isn't Yetzias Mitzrayim alone? Like he took us out as a nation. He separated us from.
Two, and that was the beginning of it. And then it culminated, Tavdin as a like the purpose was to get to there. And so, that was the start of it. So we were like born, but we were like chosen fully then. Okay.
You promised.
So there's two. So now you know that if a person is ever in a very unfortunate situation, where a guy has a gun to a Jew's head, and says you have to do an avera or I'm going to pull the trigger. What's the general rule? Depends on the avera. Okay.
Depends on the time of
Okay. What's the general rule?
Right.
Okay. Good. Shas Hashmat is a good kasha. Let's say it's not Shas Hashmat. Huh?
It depends.
If it's what?
If because of Jesus and also with other Yidden, then we're not going to do it.
Okay, so Shas Hashmat, these are all right. Okay, here's the general rule. The general rule is you do the Aver. That's the general rule. Why? Because the Pasuk says, V'chai b'hem. The Pasuk says, V'chai b'hem. That these Taryag mitzvahs that I gave you are so that you should live, not that you should die. And if doing one of these mitzvahs is going to make you die, you shouldn't do it. So V'chai b'hem is a caveat in all the Taryag mitzvahs. Except for the Gimel Chamuras. Fine. Separate reasons why the Gimel Chamuras. What? I don't know about that exception. Shas Hashmat is the other exception. If it's a Shas Hashmat, it's totally different. Okay, why? Why is Shas Hashmat totally different? I'll tell you what the Vilna Gaon says. Yeah? So this is what the Vilna Gaon says. The Vilna Gaon says there's two things. There's Asher Bachar Banu. There's Jewish identity. I'm a Jew. I'm Hashem's people. And then there's Nasan Lano Es Teirase. There's specific things that Hashem said I should do. Those are two different things. There's the Bachar Banu, and there's the Nasan Lano. V'chai Bahem is a clause in Nasan Lano Es Teirase. When the Torah says there are 613 things you need to do, but only if they're going to bring you life, not if they're going to bring you death. So if the guy says eat the chazer or I pull the trigger, you eat the chazer because of v'chai. But if it's a shas hashmad, what are they trying to do? They're not trying to get you to do this avera or that avera, violate this of the 613 or that one of the 613. They're trying to. What does shas hashmad mean? They're saying you can't be a Jew. There is no identity of a Jew. You're the same as everyone else. They're going after not the Nasan Lano Es Teirase. They're not saying kashrus you have a problem with, or bris milah you have a problem with. They're saying you have a problem with Jew. There's no Bachar Banu. There's no chosen. You think you're chosen. You're not special. You're the same. Then there's no v'chai b'hem. In that, there's no exception of v'chai b'hem. Even in the language of the Gemara is afilu arkasa de masani. Even on a shoelace, the tiniest thing you put on one shoe before another shoe, you have to give your life, because then they're not going after the individual mitzvahs. When they're going after individual mitzvahs, there's an exception of v'chai b'hem. But there they're going after the core Jewish identity of Asher Bachar Banu. So Rav Hutner, based on this Vilna Gaon, says that is what Yavon was trying to do. They were not going after this mitzvah or that mitzvah. They were trying to go after the Jewish identity. Did they say you can't learn Torah? They didn't say you can't learn Torah. I know some of the projects say that. That's not really what they said. They said you have to translate the Torah into Greek. I don't think you're chosen. Listen, I've seen in university libraries where they have massive Sfarim collections. Massive Sfarim collections. But the whole point of it is to say there's no Bachar Banu, there's nothing special. Torah is Chachma, so this is also Chachma. You have it all in line in the library. And it's a chachma among chachmas. One of the things that the Greeks did was they said that before a woman gets married, she should live with the Greek officer to blur the line. So there's no bachar banu, there's no chosen. That's what they were going after. That's why the Medrash says choshech su yavan, right? The pasuk in the second pasuk in Bereshis talks about the choshech al pnei tahim. The Medrash says that each of the soyu v'avoyu v'choshech b'nei saim, each of those four expressions represents one of the exiles, and the one choshech is refers to Yavin because Yavin was trying to make. What does it mean? Make darkness. It means to try to blur the lines. When it's the evening, what is the word for evening? Anyone know? Like Ma'ariv, like we're supposed to start now. The root of Ma'ariv is Erev, which means no, Erev, Irvovia. It means to mix. It means to mix because when the sun goes down, the lines get to be blurred. They're not so. I don't see clearly. Is that a tree? Is it a telephone pole? I'm not exactly sure. It's blurred. That's what Yavin's doing. I'm not sure. Am I special? Am I not? Am I a Jew? They're going after the Bachar Banu. That's what they're going after. So I think that is why on Chanukah there's a special inyan of Persumei Nisa. We don't have Persumei Nisa in general. Do things in public. That's the way a Jew's supposed to be. Public. In Golos? No. It's supposed to be modest. It's ne'aleches. All of a sudden, because the whole thing they were trying to do was to say, be ambivalent, be unsure, maybe you're not so special, it's just you, it's them, you're a good person, they're a good person, it's ethical, what's the difference? So you have to, on Chanukah, you're the opposite. You put the menorahs on the car, whatever. You put the menorahs outside, loud, proud, in public, in your face, make no mistake, yeah, I'm a Jew, yeah, I'm lighting the candles. Because you want to make sharp distinctions, no blurring of the lines. That's what Persumei Nisa is all about. Okay, we'll stop here.